for the younger generation who aspires to become not Albiera Antinori, but someone who aspires
something
to become
better, something much better.
Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Welcome to another installment of On the Road Special Edition, hosted by Stevie Kim.
Hello, everybody. My name's Stevie Kim, and welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast. This is, of course, the On the Road edition, and today we have a very, very special guest. This woman is a super powerhouse, and of course, Italian wine, but she is also the president of Consortium of Bolgheri and Sassicaia. So this is the reason why I'm here today, because this On the Road edition will be focusing on Bolgheri. So I'm very, very excited. Ciao, Albiera.
Hello, Stevie, and hello, everybody.
Hi. So thank you so much for doing this. I know you're so busy. I tried getting hold of you so many times, but we weren't able to do that. And so grateful to have you on the show today. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And because you have become the president of the consortium. The name is Consortium per la tutela dei vini Bolgheri e Bolgheri Sassicaia DOC, one of the longest DOC names we have, of course. And I love it because you have two also vice presidents who are women.
Oh yes, well I think it's the first time really that in a consortium we have president and two vice presidents that are women. I think this is also part of what Bolgheri is. It's a relatively new appellation. It's a very dynamic appellation. And this is why at this point there's a bit of woman power, extra woman.
Yes, I love it. Girl power. I love it. So for our audience who are less familiar with Bolgheri, would you mind giving us a little bit about the facts and figures, where it's located, how many producers there? Just give us a little small overview.
So we are talking about two consortium. One is Bolgheri and one is Bolgheri Sassicaia. They are one inside the other one, but they are two different entities, let's say. Bolgheri is a little town located in the south of Livorno on the Tyrrhenian coast. It is a very small appellation because it's about 1,350 hectares of vineyard. We are 65 producers, so it's very small and it's relatively new.
When did it all start?
It started 25 years ago officially, but the first winemaker that started wine was Mario Incisa with Sassicaia about 50 years ago. He was the first one who planted. Here there was practically no vineyards in the area. It was an agricultural land, but not really dedicated for quality vineyards. So he started and gave the start. It made everybody realize that this area was really special, especially for varieties like Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Cabernet Franc. So since then, there's been a strong movement of other wineries and slowly emerging as the top Italian wines. If you look at the Livex, we have 3 in the first 10 that are coming from Bolgheri.
I know, that's amazing.
Which is quite incredible. I must say that it is a mixture. Basically, there is a really special terroir. The soil and the climate, the influence of the sea, the mountains behind really make it unique. And then there is the spirit of the producers. Before there were few, now there are more, but we're all very dedicated to quality production. So the direction is clear, it is centered, there is a lot of experimentation going on, but I think this is what really makes unique Bolgheri.
So can you tell us a little bit about the special terroir that there is in Bolgheri that you were talking about, and the quote unquote the experimental winemaking?
So it would be easier if everybody was here and I could show around. I mean, there's like an amphitheater of mountains that overlook the sea. So this makes the climate here particular, because at night there is breeze that comes from the sea, which mitigates either the heat or the coolness. Then there are towards the sea obviously more sandy soil, and that become more limey and more intense towards the hills. This is where the part in the middle is where the great wines are produced. We are seeing more and more also now vineyards a little bit higher in the hills. This is probably due also to climatic condition and climatic changes that here we really haven't felt in reasonable terms. But this is what the terroir gives you. It gives you a variety. You can have younger and fresher wines towards the sea, and more you go towards the mountains, the more complex they are.
So, first of all, how big is the Bolgheri area in terms of wine production?
It is about, as I said, 1,350 hectares of vineyard. Actually, the area with which it's 13 kilometers long, population, and 5 kilometers wide. So it's very small.
Yeah, it's very tiny. Could you possibly break down for the wine geeks, because we have a lot of the wine students that follow our podcast. Could you break down the kind of the grape varieties in terms of planting and percentage within these vineyards? It's mostly, quote unquote, the Bordelais blend, right?
Yes, it's mostly, the most very planted is Cabernet Sauvignon. Then there is Merlot. The emerging variety is Cabernet Franc. There is a bit of Syrah, and then there are the grapes, the white grapes. There's a bit of Sauvignon, there's a bit of Vermentino. But the vineyards dedicated to the production of Bolgheri Superiore account for about the 20% of the total appellation. The total appellation produces about 6.5 million bottles, so it's relatively small.
So, there's something very particular, I would say a little bit going against the current in terms of trends, is that the DOC in Bolgheri and Sassicaia, there's kind of no rules in a way, right? It's very flexible in terms of they call the wine laws here in Italian disciplinare, right? So can you tell us a little bit about what exactly the disciplinare dictates in terms of the blending?
The blending is, it's not that there's no rules, but it doesn't give too many specific rules on the percentage, because the idea behind this was in the years to enhance the impact that terroir has. So you can have 100% one single variety that can compose Bolgheri Superiore, but you can have also the blend between them. And this is why there was not a tradition that said the variety, the principal local variety had to be that. And this is what gives actually also a relatively free spirit of experimenting. So whoever the producer is, he likes his wines or thinks that his vineyards are more suited for some varieties or some others. He is free to do it, obviously in strict rules in terms of quantity, in terms of aging. So this is the way it was chosen to do, and I think it has proven very positive, also because you see the results, and you see new wines coming up, new quality wines coming up, and then at the end, when you taste them all together, you can always recognize the silkiness of the wines from Bolgheri, the structure, but at the same time the elegant and fruitiness, the Mediterranean aromas. So it does overcome all of this.
So, one thing I've noticed is the logo of the consortiums, right? The consortium. I don't know if it was an undertaking from the new, let's say, the management of the consortium, or it was a project that was before, in terms of the changing of the logo. There was a small change of the logo, right?
Yeah, it was a slight redesign. The cypresses were always in the logo. The cypresses they are taking example of the alley of cypress trees that takes to Bolgheri, that drives to Bolgheri. So it was just a redesign.
So
It's a symbol. It's the Viale dei Cipressi di Bolgheri is the symbol of the appellation.
So talking about symbols, of course, this evening there's this big dinner of celebration in the main road, the Viale of Bolgheri. Would you like to tell us a little bit about this event, how it became about?
Well, the dinner is the conclusion of a whole day of tastings. So that's the fun part. But during the whole day today, we had the first time that we introduced en primeur the vintage 2019 that is going to come out as of January 2022, which is very important because never before there was an en primeur of all the producers of Bolgheri, of the Bolgheri Superiore. During the day, the people could taste the Bolgheris 2020, that Bolgheri Rosso, that have just come out. We organized this fun tasting in seven wineries, and that hosted all the other producers, which is really nice and shows what the spirit of this area, of this appellation is a spirit of friendship, of hard work, and of friendship. So everybody gives the occasion also to smaller producers to present their wines. After this long day of tastings, because they started from 10 o'clock and they will finish at 5, we will have the dinner on the Viale, in which we are keeping our eyes on the weather because there is always in this period of time a bit of rain that the vineyards really need it, but in this evening we don't really need it.
Well, just a sliver of rain would be fine,
yes,
right?
Exactly. And it's going to be one long table along this alley.
How many people will be participating at the dinner?
We are going to be just under 1,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, that's going to be beautiful in one.
I can't wait.
Yeah, and all the wines to be tasted. Mm-hmm. So the dinner is organized in a way that all the wineries have invited their guests, and then there is two parts that are the guests of the Consortium, and all the wines of the producers you will be able to taste. So there's going to be a lot of wine.
Well, I can't wait for that. I would like to ask you, has the harvest started in Bolgheri?
We have started picking a few things.
What have you started?
We've had
The white grapes or rosé grapes?
We've started with the rosé grapes, and some people have started picking the Merlot. This summer has been quite a hot one. Mm-hmm. Although here it hasn't created any particular problems, but so some little Merlot has started, but it's just small things. The real it's going to be starting next week.
Right.
This is why we did the dinner and the event and the tasting just a few days before.
Right,
so that
right.
Everybody would be free to concentrate
On the harvest.
what they should be.
So, and how long does the harvest will continue? When will it end, do you think, this year?
This will depend. I think 3 weeks it should be over. I mean, the apex is going to be in the next couple of weeks.
And in general, if you compare this year's harvest, I know it's maybe difficult, premature to give a kind of a judgment, but do you think, how does it compare to last year's, for example? What is your expectation?
Well, if the question is it going to be a great vintage?
Yes, but
I
kind of roundabout way, yeah.
I think the chances are that it's going to be a great vintage, but as a viticulture, I can never say that until all the grapes are in the cellar. The chances are that it's a great vintage. But
Right.
until it's finished and done, and every malolactic fermentation has started, vineyard owners don't really want to talk about that.
Right,
It's
right,
like,
right. A taboo. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, talking of, challenges, what are the main challenges for Bolgheri producers? I know that's a gross generalization. It depends on each wineries. But what are the challenges for Bolgheri producers in general?
I think the challenges are the challenges of great appellations to produce better and better wines every year, to experiment, to see if there's new things. This is an area in which we still have a lot to discover. The average age of the vineyards is 15 years old, so There is still new things to be done, varieties, areas, viticulture-wise, to be experimented, but the concept has to be that quality along, and introducing people to the area because it's known, but still there is a lot of work to do.
So I want to ask you kind of a cheeky, maybe personal question. So, of course, you have this big role as, representing not just Italian wine, but women in wine, right? So for the younger generation who aspires to become not Albiera Antinori, but someone who aspires
Something
to become
better, much better.
some, especially young women who aspires to become, do something important, contribute in a significant way in the wine industry. What are your suggestions? What is your advice, if you can give, just kind of an inspirational advice to especially the young women out there?
I think that the first thing goes through studying and going to good universities, taking stage in vineyards, harvesting, understanding land and understanding wine. There is a real need of people that have an experience and let's say a curriculum is important. And this is something that the new generation has the chance to do. Our generation, we were not really pushed to study a lot. Next generation, they have to do, and they have to be on the top of all the new experimentation, the new studies. Then, in general, to any kind of young starting to work, probably the most important thing is the curiosity. The curiosity leads you to always look for something new and for something better. And then just to prepare to be hardworking people.
And what about your children? How many children have you got?
I have 2 children, aged 28 and 26.
Boy and a girl?
A boy and a girl. They both had the experiences outside of Italy in the wine world. One is more in the marketing side, one is more in the agricultural side. She's viticultural and enologist. They've just started. The boy has started a year and a half ago. The girl a few months ago. They're on board, and it looks like they're enjoying it. And the children of my sister Allegra,
right,
also too. They are interested in the business, so it's going to be a fun team in a few years.
So of course, your motto is winemaking for 26 generations. Everyone knows that, right? So it sounds like the 27th generation is guaranteed already.
You never say. It's like harvest. They might get bored and change their mind, but the chances are there. For us, it's very important that generations after. I mean, it is just as important as making great wines is to have the generation after, that at least 1 or 2 or 3 or even more, all of them enjoy. There's lots of things to do, and this really it's really such a special world, this world of wine, that you really cannot not like it.
So what is your, you have 2 women presidents. Of course, you have Cinzia Melli and Priscilla Incisa della Rocchetta, and yourself at the top of the management of the consortium right now. When is your mandate until? Like 2000, till next year, I think? Your mandate?
I think I still have either 1 more or 2 more years.
Okay. Within these 1 or 2 years, what are the milestones? What are the objectives you've set for yourself?
So one of the main objectives is to anyway explain, promote the quality of the wines of Bolgheri, because as I said, Bolgheri is well known, but there is still a lot to do. Another milestone is to stimulate among all the producers, smaller and bigger, to experiment, to check other things, other areas, other wines. And then there is a whole theme that we're working on, and I think we are seeing the way where to go, to work on together with the government and is to have a sustainable certification that is national and in which the consortium, as a consortium, can apply. We are trying to see exactly how to go and where to go, but this is for sure an important point.
Okay, so I think that is pretty much most of the things that I would like to have asked you for today with regards to the consortium. Hopefully we'll have another opportunity to interview you with, of course, even a bigger animal, if you will, of Antinori business.
Whenever you want, Stevie, you're always welcome.
Okay, and I'm really, really looking forward to having some wine with you this evening.
Very good, very good. Thanks a lot, and thanks to everybody.
Arrivederci. And that's a wrap from Bolgheri. We're currently at Guadaltasso. It's an osteria just overlooking this vineyard. So stay tuned. We'll be coming with a lot of video and photos from Bolgheri. Ciao ragazzi. Arrivederci. Chin chin with Italian people.
Ciao, ciao.
And that's a wrap for this episode of On the Road Edition with Stevie Kim. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure that you've subscribed to our channel and check out our other travel videos too. You can also listen to our podcast version. For more information, check out www.italianwinepodcast.com.